everyone, and welcome to this another episode of us digging around the dirt of Dragon Ball, and this time, maybe getting a little bit more heated. Maybe not quite as heated as the Heeters, but that's besides the point, as we discuss further here up on the lookout. For those of you who don't know, Up on the Lookout is a podcast with a difference. Here we like to talk about Dragon Ball, but in a more relaxed tone, usually. However, today's subject has really gotten us a little bit hot under the collar, but we will try and explain our thoughts in a roundabout way, which is going to be rational, and we will not fly off the handle too much, I can assure you, because I'm pretty sure that some of you listening will be driving, and we wouldn't want to be driving you potty with what we're going to be saying. So joining me for this debate/venting is my trusty sidekick Kakarot.
Hello, I am hyper-ring blocked.
I think we are fighting for my life here in terms of discussing the topic, because quite frankly, I think it needs to be said. It's Dragon Ball Super Chapter 77. But before we get going, if you're listening to this on your podcasting platform of choice, do give us a follow for following more examples of these podcasts, as well as our audio series Revelation F, which we're gearing up for season 2 of, probably at the end of November. Chapter 77 comes first, and I'm sorry. If you saw my main review, and I'm saying this with a cup of coffee in my hand to add to the legitimacy of my discussion here, as well as the British accent, if that's not enough for you, this really got me under the... it really got me seething because of the fact that Twitter and social media got extremely angry over one word or one sentence about what Vegeta said. It got taken to heart. And this is the culmination of things that have been boiling up for the last few months. It just doesn't make sense, does it have?
You know, when I first saw your draft of this review, I was like, I had similar opinion. I was like, oh boy, I hope we are not getting too aggressive. But like, I got so frustrated as well. Over-relying on spoilers and things without concept is... it's shifty. And it's not the first time where people like, oh, it wasn't that bad. Like, we are not saying that, oh, you know, everything about... Like, you should consider everything about the manga to be great and outright be super hyped, only to get disappointed. But like... The other extreme is also not very good, and it's not the first time this happens.
No, absolutely not, because if this had happened in a different way, like if this condemnation happened after the chapter came out, then fair enough, people are entitled to their own opinions, fine, I'd look the other way. Fine. The main issue was that people weren't even giving it a chance, and it just really brought to light the fact that people are mostly bagging on Super just for the fact it's Super. And yeah, Super's not the best iteration of what you could get from Dragon Ball Z. It can't be, because people don't seem to remember the fact that Dragon Ball Z came out on Wednesday evenings in Japan, prime time, where you could get away with a lot more. Like, you could be a little bit darker. You could show a little bit more violence because you've got parents to supervise and going like, yeah, okay, that might be a little bit too much. Whereas now, Dragon Ball Super, along with One Piece, are shown on Sunday mornings early, about like 9 o'clock. So you can't have that level of violence in Dragon Ball anymore.
Also, you know, today Dragon Ball is a big international machine, you know, which with all, you know, pros and cons of that, because we saw the last panel about the movie. Like, can you imagine something like that like 20 years ago?
Yeah, like heck, even like probably not even 10. Like Battle of Gods, that didn't come out in the cinema in the UK. I think it may have got a very limited release in America. Resurrection F definitely did come out in Europe in very limited quantities.
Oh wow, Dragon Ball movies not coming out in your local cinema. That must be terrible.
No, that's just an excuse to have a holiday. It's okay. Now it's an excuse. Yeah, but the thing is, though, is that we're very lucky to have a movie. And even though this is sort of not quite about the manga, it is about what you can expect from a modern Dragon Ball content parameter. in that you can't go fully ape, as it were. So the thing that you get from the Dragon Ball Super manga, you're not going to get in the anime. So things have to be kind of tempered almost. But just don't expect the world from this. And the show is learning. Granola's arc and saga is certainly different to what we had. Moro was pretty good if you take it all in one piece. And I'm pretty sure with the Granolah one, this will be seen as, wow, this was actually kind of deep. And we saw some character growth. Neat. If you take that in the wider prospect. But yeah, we've talked long enough about the pre-spoiler thing. Let's talk about the actual chapter itself. And let's get Bardock out of the way right now, because this was the main thing that everyone was getting their knickers in a twist about. And first of all, I would like to say that it was very interesting because the letterer for the manga and friend of the podcast, Brandon, told me that the name that was used for Bardock was then changed to Bardock, probably just due to confusion. I did find it a little bit confusing, but I'm pretty sure the people over at Kanzenshi would be very disappointed. The fact, oh no, it's now Bardock with an A and not Burdock as it's supposed to be. Oh no, it's not accurate anymore. Now they're gonna go after our boo. No offense to the Kanzenshi guys, they're great. But, you know, it's all about what the general consensus of the audience would understand, because the manga now, in comparison to maybe, I don't know, even 2 years ago, there's a lot more eyeballs on it, and people are going to be confused. Like, who's this Burdock guy? So now they have to bring it in line with expectations. And we'll definitely have Brandon back on again in the fullness of time, because we'd love to see more insights as to the goings on and how the manga localization works, as well as his own stance about Dragon Ball itself. So we're very much looking forward to having him back on. If you haven't seen our episode with him, do check it out on our YouTube channel, Up on the Lookout, as well as check out the archives on your podcasting platform of choice. It was a very good show indeed.
Very, very informative and makes you appreciate the role of the letterer much more.
Yeah, exactly. And also he's a top guy. So there you go. But the main point, Bardock. I feel that this Bardock is a much more rounded iteration than we ever got in Minus, because as far as we're concerned, we need to remember this, Dragon Ball Minus was a side piece to Jako the Galactic Patrolman's manga. It was just a little side chapter to then bring Jako into the story and how Goku and the Galactic Patrol got involved. So it's not like something to be taken super seriously, but it was, and it is. There's nothing really you can do much about it anymore. But the main concept is that Bardock was not the same badass guy, obviously, than we saw in the 1990 special. But one big plus side, we got Gine, and I think everybody listening is going to be glad that we got Gine. I'm very glad that we got Gine, quite frankly, because that's probably one of the best full story videos I've had on the channel. And also, it was a really fun story to write. It was definitely very fun. And
also, Gine is such it's a pretty enjoyable character, and for somebody that whose role was delegated to distributing meat, she's pretty smart for a Saiyan.
Yeah, no, definitely. And even though she may be relatively weak, power level of 500, that's still gonna destroy anybody on planet Earth, as we saw in my What If. But the main point of it is that Bardock wasn't really thought through. It was all down to the gut feeling instead of him having clairvoyance.
Him getting clairvoyance in the special was also dumb bass. Like, the special could do without clairvoyance, really.
But I think the thing was, though, I imagine that the Dragon team and the Toei lot who came up with that special, it wasn't Toriyama, just so you know. It was most likely Takao Koyama and his crew. Came up with that because probably him having clairvoyance was the only way that evil, nasty Saiyans could actually get some perspective and actually tone down their violent streak. That was the only way. If they were grabbed by the face and going, "Look, this is what will happen to you if you do nothing." There you go. That was the only, you have to shove it in their face for them to get them to do anything that isn't nasty. That was the only way that they could possibly do it at the time.
Still, it's good that we are talking about Bardock characterization because, controversial opinion, I know, but I think that what we've seen in this chapter and what we've seen from Bardock in the special, it doesn't contradict the character.
No, it doesn't. No, it absolutely doesn't, because Hav and I were talking about this yesterday when the chapter dropped. It doesn't excuse the fact that before all of this happened, and even during the attack, Bardock was still part of a bunch of mass murdering soldiers. And he was, and he will continue to be so, because most likely now this isn't happening just before Freeza calls them back. This is probably like a couple of years before then.
And give some credibility to his gut feeling in Broly / Minus.
Yeah, exactly. And in the Broly movie, that was enhanced to the fact that Bardock had that gut feeling, but he explained the gut feeling. As in, like, he talked through it like a detective would. And it goes like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay, I get that now.
And especially, you know, after his experiences from that chapter, like, you know, seeing the deal between Freeza and the Heeters might be alright. Like, Freeza wouldn't be, you know, like, it wouldn't be uncharacteristic to do stuff like this. So, in my opinion, like, we got some credibility to the gut.
Exactly. Bardock's not dumb. He's a very smart cookie. And yeah, he's very strong as well. And right now, if you're really worried about Bardock being a softie, he's not. This was actually brought up in the manga, if you actually read it and didn't just trust on the spoilers. Even Bardock's confused about what the hell he's doing right now. He's going, oh, what's gotten into me? I don't understand. Like, I'm experiencing feelings. I don't like it. But that he's in conflict with his own change of mood. And it's all down to the fact that, and Gine brought this up too, this is something very important, is that Bardock's barely around. And that makes sense because he's a mid-class warrior and he's very good at what he does and he likes fighting. So he's barely at home. So most likely when Gine gave birth to Raditz, and this was actually curious, it seems like they do give birth naturally, but then they're brought into nursing capsules for a long time. And it seems like probably Kakarot had only been born a few months prior, or maybe even just a couple of months, and they spend the first few years of their life in the nursing capsule until they are then young enough or strong enough to be able to, you know, cope on the 10 times gravity of planet Vegeta. That might be it.
The gestation, like, it's not 9 months, for example.
I'm not sure whether that's actually corroborated, but that wouldn't surprise me. It all makes sense to the fact that you need more Saiyans to fight in battles.
No. Like this is, you know, this is just my theory, because like for a warrior society, like it's unpractical for a woman to be pregnant and off battle 9 months.
Obviously, with some Freeza tech support, of course. But a lot of people are actually making up the fact that if the Granolah saga set in age 781, and this was 40 years ago, according to the actual timeline, shouldn't planet Vegeta already been destroyed already? But I think probably the 40 years ago thing is not exact. I'm probably thinking that because according to the Broly movie, and now is like Goku was born in age 734. So this is probably age 734 when he's just been born. And you could easily say, oh, well, when would you qualify him being born? When he was actually taken out of Gine's womb, or when he was taken out of the nursing capsule? When do you quantify that? But that's besides the point. What we do kind of assume is that Bardock, for the first time, sees his kid in the nursing capsule before being taken out. He didn't have that moment with Raditz, clearly, because otherwise he would have had that moment with Raditz. He had that paternal moment, seeing his brand new son for the first time in that vulnerable state. And something clicked, which normally wouldn't happen with any other male Saiyan, because they probably cannot be bothered to do that. Or maybe they don't even have that kind of relationship with Saiyan women. They just have their way, and then they go back to battle, not even giving a...
And we know, and we have a Saiyan that kind of had a similar reaction before. And he wasn't like a soft, quote unquote, you wouldn't call him softy.
Oh, would you say that was King Vegeta?
No, yes, but I would rather say Paragus.
Oh, yes, of course, with Broly. Yes.
Because like you can say a lot of things, but pre-Vampa Paragus like, he did care about Broly. Like, it wasn't just, pride in his strength.
Yeah, because if he didn't care about Broly, when King Vegeta would exile Broly, he would have just gone, oh, okay, oh well, can't have them all, I'll just make another kid. It's like, what's 2 years? I can always start again. Make another kid. Stuff like that. That Omni-Man's mantra is very much the way with Saiyan men. I can always make another kid. Stuff like that. But yeah, so all of this is just like Bardock having that moment of like, oh, I'm supposed to actually care about my children. Oh, right. And then when he sees Muesli and Granolah, who, as you said, have quite a few times, are non-threats, he's just going to go, well, why should I kill them? They're not a threat to me. And we pretty much decimated everybody else. And also there was that moment where the powerful Flake shot for the moon and stuck just true. And somebody actually on Twitter pointed it out to me that the guy who shouted out Flake's name looks like Dr. Mew.
Kinda, yeah.
Who then, of course, Dr. Lychee. And they all kind of look the same. The old man with the big bushy mustache. Yeah, that's a very common look for Dragon Ball.
I like my mustache. Like, later on we'll learn that this, like, that's not a cerulean, but a special, intergalactic race of mustache old men.
Yeah, mustachios. Yeah, but I'd say just off the bat, the flashback itself, I thought was really good. I thought it was really well thought out. It had a lot of attention to detail with it. And the fact that this is where we got the information about Leek's scar from the Broly movie, as soon as I saw that happen, it was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's really neat. Okay, there's a lot of backstory to it, and like, that makes sense. And it's good to see Broly movie characters show up in this. And that, it defines that, Bardock and Leek work together. I also liked the fact that Bardock was just very simple with his dialogue in that he wasn't going into massive amounts of backstory. And people thinking that, he would have told Monaito about Gine and Kakarot. No, he didn't. That was just for us. That was like a non-diegetic moment in that was for us to explain what Bardock was feeling at that precise moment. In that, I have a kid and lady. Oh, there's a lady and a kid there. We have so much in common. Cool. All right. I won't kill you then. So he does that, and they're people of interest. So he takes them to somewhere where he can sense a Namekian from the scouter. And, this Namekian seems relatively strong, or is able to manipulate his own energy, which is of interest to Bardock. And his plan is just to set Muesli and Granolah up there, and then he'll just go. He'll bounce, and that will be it. And that is the basic gist of it. And I think this is something that's really cathartic, and I think this will probably put to bed Granolah wanting to kill Vegeta and Goku. In that, okay, now we find out, because at this moment you think, everything's looking great. Wait, Muesli's dead? Why is she dead? Why did she have to die? Because everything looks so fine. Now we find out why. That, hey, Granolah, you killed your mom. It's down to him. I know it was inadvertent, but ultimately, if the way he's going to feel like, and the way he's going to do it is like, it was me. It was all to do with me. I
think part of his brain knows, because he has that Saiyan PTSD, because that's what it is. Like, like Saiyans cause a post-traumatic stress with him. I don't know, we need to appreciate that there was a build-up for his whole shouting Saiyans, that this was a clue to something, that the association is even darker than we thought,
Yeah, that is very true, because he shouts Saiyan, he sees a Saiyan, then bad things happen. That's as far as he could tell, because he was barely conscious for any of this. I know, I get it, but it feels cathartic after all these months of him just being completely irrational and going, Saiyans must die! And then we find out, it's because of that your mother's dead.
And, and that he has a massive trauma and, and probably could use a therapy and somebody to speak to him, which Vegeta was doing!
That's what he was trying to do. And even then people were complaining about that, this isn't the Vegeta of old. it's like, no, this isn't the Vegeta of old, and even he knows it.
This is Vegeta the therapist. Vegeta the fighting therapist.
Exactly. As well as detective. But the point is that now Granolah is going to be towing the line, I think. He's heard enough, because he was almost convinced, but then he wanted to like think, oh, well, I bet he killed my mother. And it's like, no, Elec did that. Elec was the one that shot. Elec shot first.
And that's what, like, I must say, that's what I like about the saga, that the main villain is not necessarily like the battle strongest guy, but like the most cunning and, you know, and slimy person. I'm still banking on the fact that he will try to play his own siblings, and some of them may redeem.
I think most likely it's going to be Oil and Maki. Yeah, Gas is going to succumb to all of this.
Yeah, Gas is going to be a sacrifice, basically.
Of course.
I don't view Gas as completely unsympathetic. Like, he's being played by his own older brother, and you can see that.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And Elec's just using them all. Oil and Maki are going to be the ones that will go like, well, wait a minute, why are we doing this? What are you doing? And when they find out, oh, Elec's just using Gas for his own ends, Oil and Maki will start to turn. Elec will use some kind of like, if you do that, that's going to make them toe the line until Oil will say, you know what? That's it. I'm not going to take this anymore. And then ultimately, he may actually die in trying to rebel, Maki being the only one out of all of them that will survive.
I kind of like it as a change of pace from how Dragon Ball villains are presented. You know, like it's not a big bad multiform thing. Like we haven't seen Gaz's ultimate form, and I'm really curious. Will they make Gaz stronger than Granolah, or will they just transfer his force?
So what could easily happen is that Elec probably might be aware that the Dragon Balls have been used, or they'll find out that the Dragon Balls have been used, what Granolah's wish was, and then just say, oh, well, we want that then. And they don't realize the penalty about the whole 3 years left to live thing, saying, oh, we'll take lock, stock, and barrel what Granolah had. So Granolah then loses all of his power, but then he gets to live longer. And then Gas has all of that, and then realizes, oh my god, I've only got like so-and-so years left to live.
I mean, Heeters know about this because he told them. Listen, I like what I feel will happen is that Elec will know, but he won't tell anyone. He's the one to sacrifice his brother. Like, I think that sacrificing their sibling is a line that Maki, Oil, and Gas wouldn't cross, but Elec would.
Of course, because he's the boss, and at this point, and this is also something we picked up on, is that 40 years ago, at that time, the Heeters were working for Freeza. They were also like subcontractors, and probably this big score with the Shigarians was very important and their way to break away from the Freezer Force in getting all that money. Like, I think 900 billion Pol, which is like the space currency almost. Well, 90% of the Shigarian price. And the Shigarians were obviously glad to pay that. They got scammed, basically. The Freezer Force barely got anything. And maybe this is the way that Bardock told Freeza. Maybe this is the way that they got rumbled, they found out, so Elec thought, well, okay, we need to put the plan into action, use this money, get this deal done quick, and skedaddle.
I don't think so. I don't see Bardock working with Freeza, honestly.
Oh, maybe not telling Freeza directly, but to his superiors, or something like that, or spreading the word of discontent via his own circle, or something like that. But I did find it funny in the thing where the Ceruleans say, yay, we did it, we stopped the giant monkeys! No.
Now you have to fight the small monkeys. Oh no, that small monkeys are even worse.
Oh no, now they're angry. Oh, but I did like the dynamic between the Ceruleans and the Namekians, and the fact they have this nice little dynamic, you know. The Namekians grow and produce vegetables and crops. All they want in return is water. Okay, that's a good thing, and they provide magical protection and Dragon Balls and stuff like that. And I think something that was really interesting is that Monito got given the Dragon Balls. So I think probably the whole dynamic is that all the Cerulean Namekians are attached to the Dragon Balls. So, so long as there's one still alive, they still work. And Monaito, now he's extremely old, he's the last one. And if he dies, there's no more Dragon Balls.
To me, he was written off to be killed off,
Yeah, he's the sympathetic old man character. He will be sacrificed in some way. And it'll probably be Elec who kills him. He's like, oh, I should have done this 40 years ago.
Also, to me, people are also asking, why Monaito didn't told Granolah? In a way, he thought that Granolah would be safer as a trophy minion / pet for the Heeters, that he got all of the haha hit out of him, And one of the things that you need to remember about elderly people is that if you are dedicated to keep secret because for long time, it's not easy to tell the truth. Even if from the perspective of a younger person that you are keeping this secret from, this isn't a problem.
Yeah, and also Granolah was unconscious the entire time, so once he woke up, Elec could have just said whatever he wanted, and no one would have been able to no one would have been able to do anything. Monaito would have been too scared to say anything, and yeah, Granolah would have been putty in Alec's hands and oh, hey, cool, a cerulean bounty hunter, the only one left. That's very hot property. I like having this. So yeah, Elec just used him. And now that Granolah knows the truth, he's going to go after Elec. But by the time he does that, either his powers will be taken away from him, or he's going to meet Gas, who's even stronger, and he's going to have to rely on Vegeta and Goku's help. But I still like the idea I put in my main review, is that Gas is like, there's no way that you can defeat me. And then Granolah's like, I know, but he can. And then Freeza comes and says, all right, what's the ruckus been going on here with my new golden powers? Freeza ends up ironically being help.
It would be great, but I think that one of the biggest twists in this saga for now, it seems that Freeza may not even appear in this saga.
Yeah, I'm thinking this now, because this is we're now 10 chapters into this story, which is almost the halfway point in terms of how long the Moro saga was. That was about 20 chapters or something like that, I think. So a year and a half. We're about halfway through, or at least going into the second act. Freeza hasn't even shown up, not even in the flashback. And he was mentioned. But yeah, I'm getting a feeling that we may not see Freeza. And this is really ironic, because people were complaining about seeing Freeza too many times in the Super anime. Now everyone's going, where's Freeza coming back? Why isn't he here? He made a brief cameo in the Moro saga. Now people are clamoring for his return. How ironic that, not so long ago, we were complaining about him being in the main story. Now everyone wants him to come back. Everyone's going, where's Freeza? I never thought I would see the day that would happen, but I guess it did. And okay, I want to touch on Goku's reaction to finding out about his dad. I think it did resonate with him, but we've not really seen the total fallout of it yet. We probably will in the next chapter. He'll be thinking about it, but probably not entirely. He'll probably go back and tell everybody back on Earth when he gets home, and he might be curious to find out more. But I hope it leads to something. I hope it goes somewhere, in that he finds out about Gine in some way. Maybe, who knows, he might actually go to Zuno, the mythical bounty of wisdom and the exposition machine, the ultimate exposition machine, Zuno. Total genius, by the way.
And at the same time, I liked it because it was adequate. It wasn't like Goku losing his mind. Oh my god, my daddy did that. Oh.
It wasn't what? But neither was it well, anyway. It left an impression rather than just it skating over.
It was perfectly adequate, and still says, my father figure was Grandpa Gohan, which is again, it's really, to me, it's, I think that Granolah will start to see similarities between himself, Goku, and Vegeta,
Yeah, this was very much a Yandu moment. If Grandpa Gohan was around, it'd say, Bardock may have been your father, but he wasn't your daddy, boy.
Yeah. I think I saw Saiyan Scholar mentioning this on Twitter.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think that was something I think we're all in consensus with. Definitely. But I think I think we've pretty much said everything we wanted to say about this. I mean, the flashback itself was really good. I thought it was really well handled, and I very much see a lot of people not complaining about it. Because usually what happens in the super manga in particular is that once we get to the crescendo of a big battle, there's a sudden drop-off and nobody gives a toss about the manga for 2 or 3 months while everything's being built up. It happened at the end of the Moro saga. For the first 2 months, nobody really cared about the Granolah saga. Now, we get to the crescendo at the end of the Granolah Ultra Ego Vegeta fight, people still care. And that's quite good. In that people, yeah, okay, Bardock was involved in some way, but it was still something. And now I'm happy that Gine is in the actual manga. I'm happy. And we got some good shots of her. Yeah, Mama Gine's very disappointed in you. And I like that for the thumbnail.
Also, I'm sorry, we didn't mention one thing. Like, it's like, but we have to at the end, like poor Raditz has become such a bad monkey, like.
Oh, of course, yes. I was going to not mention it just because the fact it's just so sad, but yeah. Raditz, it just confirms that Bardock didn't care about Raditz.
Raditz is a Doofenshmirtz of this. Like, he was raised by a family of beetles, not family of ocelots.
Yeah, exactly. He plays with beetles whilst the big important family moments go on inside. He's either out with Vegeta, he's either doing his own thing.
Again, it's kind of like it's a very cruel, very cruel running gag, but it's a running gag. Like, it's kind of hilarious and cruel at the same time,
Oh yeah, we're not going to get upset about this. We kind of find it bizarrely funny. But we do go like, oh man, it's okay. Raditz has a place in our hearts here on this channel and family of channels.
At least the Beatles got him.
If he hadn't shown up at all, not even in just one panel, that would have been like, well, now wait a minute. That's not fair. Oh, bless him. Bless his cotton socks, or bless his cotton armor more accurately. The chapter was very good. I'm glad that people have suddenly realized that the manga is not half bad and not bagging on it so much. I was really worried that people would because, oh no, Bardock being soft. No, Bardock should be tough and slap Gine around a lot and not care about Kakarot and punch people just because.
And kill toddlers.
Yeah, he should just kill anybody. He should even hurt himself because he's a baddie. I know I'm being facetious. I know I'm doing that for effect. I know, but it's not entirely inaccurate.
Yeah.
It's just like Bardock is still that. It's just done in a more mature and more well-rounded manner. In that, yeah, even he is confused as to why he's feeling this way. This is really new to him and he doesn't understand. Think of defying gravity from Wicked. It's like, something has changed within me. Something is not the same.
You may say that he can stop this feeling deep inside of him. You may even say that Bardock is hooked on a feeling.
Da 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 da. Yeah. Oh, exactly. Just throw in Guardians of the Galaxy references and you'll do fine. Absolutely. Yeah. I think that wraps everything up for today. We like the chapter. We're looking forward to seeing what happens in the aftermath, whether Granolah still flies off the handle or not. But we hope that you join us for the next installment of our reviews, probably coming on November the 20th, I believe. So do follow, subscribe, or whatever you do on your podcasting platform of choice, and we will hope to see you next month, or maybe for something else in the intervening time.
And remember, if you want to have fun with the manga, just avoid spoilers. Like, really.
Exactly. Just wait until it comes out, or if you do see spoilers, don't take them to heart. Wait until the full material comes out for the big picture. But anyway, High Rock, thank you for joining me.
Thank you, it's always a pleasure.
And I shall see you all next time for another installment of Up on the Lookout. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. Ta-da!